Yo, I know it's been quite a while since the last time I've been able to make a full video, but I've been doing things and getting around. However, I'm back in full swing once again. There have been a lot of changes that I've witnessed Elsword go through with all the updates and patch notes and changes and whatnot. Cough, cough, Achlys buff nowhere to be seen, by the way. However, regardless of that, I wanted to take a step back and really talk about the Lithia some more, my favorite character by far in the entire game. And as someone who has max prestige expertise in the topic, I want to give you guys an easy to understand, simplified version of the playstyles, roles, pros, and cons of each of the Lithias. So starting out with their first path, Gembliss. So straight away, what I'll say is Lithia as a character is easily the most balanced character in all of Elsword in my honest opinion. She doesn't have exactly anything that I can say makes her broken, and she honestly doesn't have anything between any of her paths that have extremely high percentages. So I just wanted that to be known for the people that were expecting to hear her, oh, she's broken. But honestly, no, she's not broken, although the Lithias are pretty balanced. And yeah, now that that record has been set straight, now we can talk about the first class, Gembliss. Okay, so with that all being said, to start out strong, let's start with their pros. So Gembliss is a very straightforward character. Her mechanics are not hard, and she comes with quite a bit of things. Like, for example, she has easy damage and clearing skills, she's again very straightforward, and they all require basically no setup at all, besides her mining ability to get her relics that she needs, and once those are set up, she can do basically good damage all across the board for everything. She's fun and very easy to pick up, definitely the easiest out of all of the Lithias, and she has great mobility, allowing players, especially newer players, to avoid damage or learn better. Now, as for the cons, Gembliss can feel a little lackluster in later content, and she definitely suffers a little bit at both mid-game and full endgame. She can feel a little repetitive, and personally, she's not that flashy, so it's easy to get bored over time. That's just a personal feeling, but I think that that's an important thing. She has a huge mana hunger. She's a character that requires a lot of mana potions to stay afloat, and she has low damage percentages in comparison to a lot of the quote-unquote meta DPSs. Overall, Gembliss as a DPS is not bad, but she's not good either. She's one of those characters who can kind of feel lukewarm at best. She has her ups and she has her downs, obviously. So if I were to rate her in terms of stars, I would give her a 4 for damage, 2 for support, 1 for mana, and 5 for utility. And then personally, I would give her a 3.5 in terms of general fun that I have while playing the class. I think for newer players, she'll definitely be a lot more fun considering how mobile she is, how versatile she is, and how easy she is to pick up, so I definitely recommend her for any new player. Now, to talk about Avarice, the supporter path for Lithia. Beginning with her pros, she can inflict freeze, she has plenty of buffs including a rotatable MP regen skill, she has skills, while in Golden Vow, that will stack and play twice, she has plenty of sustainables in terms of shields, health, and damage reduction, and she has buffs from her skills like Ironite, Harmattan, Generosity. All of these things give her self buffs and buffs for those around you. She has constant flows of healing and easy rotations off of Miracle, which is her MP regen skill. And to top it all off, she has a revive skill. Just to note a few cons, honestly she doesn't have that many, but she has incredibly low damage percentages, and she's always reliant on having at least one other person for a few of her buffs from Golden Vow, and for the skills to be played twice when stacking on Achlys. Now, the other thing is just something that all Elsword support characters go through. Later on in the game, CP scaling definitely becomes more hard because her skills don't scale as high as DPS characters per se, so she needs a lot more work to get up into higher raids. Overall, besides being reliant on having others, she still is a support character after all, so it doesn't really matter that much because, that's their job. Otherwise, she's just a little useless, but at least she really only every once in a while has to pop a mana potion to get her MP back. Otherwise, Miracle works just fine. Really fun, highly recommend her for new players. Really, really fun, by the way. Now, if I were to rate her in stars, I would give her a 1.5 for damage, a 6 for support, 5 for mana, 3 for utility, and personally, I would give her a 4 for fun. It's always cool to play with friends and then just use her as a support. It keeps things fun, it keeps things easy, and it especially makes it so my newer player friends do not die. I can keep them up without having to worry about them getting absolutely slaughtered by endgame content. So it's free carries, honestly. Alright, so from here we have my favorite Lithia in the entire game, Achlys. Starting out with her pros, she is a good supporter for when playing with others, with special active cooldowns when she spams her skills. She has a physical / magical damage buff, and she has defense reduction from Polypus, which is also good for playing with others as well. She has quote-unquote infinite gems available when she's in Deep Rift Manifestation, so all her skills get buffed during the duration as well. And personally, she is the coolest Lithia in the entire game. Now for her cons, she deals honestly no damage. Her damage percentages are absolutely abysmal. She is the only Lithia whose gemstones have a timer and a cooldown as well. She is really only usable with mod Cancer later in the game. It's low-key a must-have. She needs a party to really fight endgame content without incredibly high CP equipment. She has a lot of setup requiring her to lower defense, buff herself, and also apply bleed. If that does not happen, she will not hit max damage at all. She needs to manage her self buffs as well, and make sure that she uses them during deeper manifestation, or else she does not get her max effect. And she can only consistently apply bleed while she's in DRM, which has a cooldown and time limit. Then you kind of have to run away and wait. Overall, Achlys is the debuffer / semi-DPS path for Lithia. She's not terrible, but she's not even close to awesome in my opinion. She applies bleed and lowers enemies' defenses. That's all she really does, and that's really all she needs to do. If I were to rate her in terms of stars, then I would give her a 2 to 3.5 for damage, 5 for support, 1 for mana, 3 for utility, and a 6 for personal reasons, of course. She's the best Lithia for fun. Even though I feel like there's a lot of things wrong with her and things that could be buffed about her, at the end of the day, she still is the funnest Lithia in my opinion. She's definitely not a new player friendly character, but I feel like she's definitely the funnest if you actually take the time to learn her and master her. So that is my own personal opinion for that. Now moving on to my least favorite Lithia in the entire game. I wish I didn't even have to talk about her, Mischief. Beginning with her pros, which honestly her pros just speak for themselves. She gets buffs from literally just existing. She's extremely viable and incredibly easy to get into. She has incredibly high damage percentages, definitely not meta DPS levels, but she definitely has higher damage percentages than most of the Lithias. She has tons of self buffs, and she can inflict even more enemy debuffs. And for her cons, honestly, she doesn't even have that many cons, if you can even call them cons in the first place. But here's just a few things that I personally think make her somewhat worse. One of them being Mr. System can definitely be a little bit more intimidating to a newer player at first, but there are plenty of guys out there that go in depth about how to quote-unquote rig her dice rolls in a way to make it so you get the ones that you need. On top of that, her skills are not as rotatable as the other Lithias, but in the end, she can still get most of her damage out through spamming her skills anyways. And lastly, she is an easy character, but hard to master type of thing. So she can definitely feel a little bit harder to use at the start, but later on, she definitely becomes more natural to play. Overall, even though this is the Lithia that I dislike the most for stealing the show, pun not intended, away from Achlys, honestly, she is truly what Achlys could have been if she was better and actually put out good damage while playing alone. If I were to rate her in terms of stars, then I would give her a 5 for damage, 3 for support, 3 for mana, 3 for utility, and personally, a whopping 1 in terms of actual fun. She's actually so easy, anybody could play her. She is definitely very beginner friendly because of how easy she is. She's really fun, she's not boring, she's definitely the most flashy out of all the Lithias. Cough Achlys is better personally, but whatever. And she's very aesthetic as well. Anyways, this is all just my personal list based on what I find from my use of the characters for quite a bit. I could have gotten some things wrong, or if I missed some things, just my personal preference to help you guys have a slightly better general understanding of the role and purpose that each Lithia most usually plays. Hopefully you guys find this simplified, funny in a way, or helpful. Take care everyone.